The shift was palpable, a tightening in the very fabric of the geomantic weave around the vertical sanctuary. It began not with a sudden assault, but with a gradual, insidious pressure, a collective weight of ancient power pressing in. Arden, the Prime Immortal, felt it as a subtle dulling of the vibrant key that usually flowed through his domain, a slow, deliberate attempt to isolate him, to sever his profound connection to the planar heart. From his private sanctuary, the internal rain, which had briefly settled, now began to falter, not in chaotic bursts, but in a slow, agonizing drip, as if the very source of its key was being choked. The colossal waterfall outside, usually a roaring symphony of power, diminished to a mournful murmur, its flow visibly thinning. The deep-hanging energy that was Arden's constant companion felt less like a part of him and more like a heavy shroud, a constant, oppressive weight. The external key currents, conduits, are being systematically dampened, Master Arden, Ilara reported, her voice hushed, almost reverent in the face of the unseen assault. She stood by the vast glass wall, her fingers tracing the faint, almost imperceptible lines of power that once pulsed with vibrant green on the internal display, now fading to a sickly gray. They're not attacking directly. They're starving us. Arden nodded, his eyes closed, his awareness reaching out, probing the unseen barriers. He recognized the combined signatures of the Syndicate, a united front born of desperation. Zephyrian's subtle, pervasive influence was weaving a net of spiritual suppression, dampening the very will of the key. Kaelen's brute force was physically constricting the major dragon lines leading to the sanctuary, creating blockages of raw, unyielding energy. And Isolde's presence, though still elusive, was subtly reinforcing the digital aspects of their siege, ensuring no external information could penetrate, no internal plea could escape. They seek to cut me off, Arden stated, his voice a low rumble, devoid of surprise. To isolate the Prime Immortal from its source. They believe that by severing my connection to the planet, they can neutralize me. They misunderstand the nature of my bond. He walked toward the heart of his private sanctuary, a circular dais of polished black obsidian that pulsed with a faint inner light. This was not merely a decorative element. It was a direct conduit to the deepest, most primordial key flows beneath the Antarctic Wall, a connection that predated even the Great Weaving itself. It was his anchor, his ultimate wellspring of power, a secret known only to a select few, and perhaps to a listener. Their fear has driven them to this, Arden continued, placing his hand on the obsidian. A faint tremor ran through the stone, and the bioluminescent fungi on the walls of his library flickered in response. They see the unraveling, they feel their control slipping, and they lash out at the perceived source. They believe I am the disease, not merely the symptom of their own decay. The pressure intensified, the air grew colder, heavier. Ilara shivered, wrapping her arms around herself. The internal rain ceased altogether, leaving an eerie silence, broken only by the faint distant murmur of the now trickling waterfall. The sanctuary, usually a vibrant hum of geomantic energy, felt like a tomb. Arden focused, drawing deep from the obsidian conduit. He felt the immense raw power of the true flat earth, the boundless key that lay beyond the illusion. It was a terrifying, untamed force, far greater than anything the Syndicate could hope to contain or suppress. He was not merely connected to it, he was a living extension of it, a conscious conduit for its ancient will. He would not break their siege with a direct counterattack, not yet. That would be too predictable, too wasteful of energy. Instead, he would allow them to exhaust themselves, to believe their strategy was succeeding. He would let the pressure build, let their arrogance swell until the moment was ripe. The acolytes beyond the wall, Arden finally said, his eyes still closed, his voice resonating with a power that seemed to vibrate in the very air. Are they preparing for the deeper awakening? Ilara, despite the oppressive key, managed to compose herself. They are. Their preparations are complete. The ancient geomantic nodes are activated. They await your command. Arden nodded. The acolytes were his true loyalists, a hidden order of powerful geomancers who had maintained the ancient knowledge of the flat Earth for millennia, extending in isolated communities beyond the Antarctic Wall. They were a secret weapon, his contingency for the day the Syndicate's control became too untenable. They understood the true nature of the planet, and they were ready to guide humanity through the terrifying truths should Arden deem it necessary. The silent siege continued, a test of wills, a battle waged not with overt force, but with the subtle manipulation of ki and perception. The Syndicate believed they were trapping the Prime Immortal, slowly draining his power. But Arden, the architect of the Great Lie, was merely allowing them to tighten the noose, knowing that the tighter they pulled, the more spectacular their eventual unraveling would be. He was preparing for a counterstrike that would not merely break their siege, but shatter their very illusion of control, revealing the true, terrifying scale of the world. The calm before the storm was over. The storm itself had begun.